Welcome to the Gold Proving Grounds guide for Protection Warriors. These are the glyphs that I prefer to use. These are my talents that I like. And these are my items. I primarily focus on having mastery and of course bonus armor as much as possible. My item level is only 639. Now, in tanking Proving Grounds, many of the mobs will not be dead by the time their wave ends, and you have to be dealing with the mobs from the next wave. Also, you'll be having to deal with mobs continuously spawning throughout each wave. For this reason, I won't really be referring to each individual wave so much as an individual section and what you need to do to counter it, but rather referring to each mob as they spawn and what is going on in the Proving Grounds and what you need to do to successfully complete it. The first wave, there's really not much to. There's a Mantid and a Sarok. When the Mantid knocks you back, make sure you quickly either taunt back or charge right back to it in order to pick it back up again quickly. Now the second wave is going to have a whole host of vermin that you're going to need to pick up as quickly as you can. The Flame Caller will begin dropping flame. You can heroic leap on the other side, try to pull them into the flame, and then I like to just stun them in it. And I'll throw that. And sitting in the fire with taking a lot of damage. Go ahead and spell reflect that bugger's pyroblast back at it. Shield barrier. And interrupt. And it burns them down pretty quickly without too much issue. And down he goes. You do wind up taking a lot of damage from that, simply because warriors don't really have a lot of anti-magic defenses. Most of their damage is in parry chance, high armor, and of course, blocking, none of which affects spells. One of the things I do love about warrior tanks is their very short cooldown shockwave. It's such a short cooldown for an AoE stun that's more than a few seconds long. Just make sure you always try to blow it when there's at least 3 targets. If you blow it when there's less than 3 targets, you're gonna eat a long cooldown on it. Now these monkeys will begin spawning in wave 3. They're very simple to handle. You just can't sit on top of the boss. And I just got a Gilded Bite. Okay. Let me go ahead and pull them away. I'm just gonna go ahead and AoE stun. Pull that guy. Make sure you pull them away. Shield block. Go ahead and blow that. And I'll be able to AoE stun again in just a moment. And there we go. I could push Rage Regeneration, but I just don't feel that I really need it. As you can see, you just keep taunting the mobs when they clear your threat and go to try to attack your healer / DPS. I'll go ahead and interrupt that. See if I can't pull him into the fire. Spell reflect that. On you. See if I can't hold you in the fire. Or you. I'm just gonna eat the large cooldown stun just because I want to sit them in the fire for a few seconds before that happens. Use that just to hold me in this fire. Always be prepared for that knockback that the Mantid are gonna do. Sometimes, like right then, you can use it to actually position yourself correctly. But a lot of times it'll, especially in those cases with the fire, it'll just mess you up. So don't worry too much if you can't actually always hold them in the fire. It's very useful to hold them in the fire. Definitely speeds up the wave. It's about the only way you'll ever be able to finish a wave before the next wave spawns, but it's not really massively essential that you do so. I'm going to actually wait until he shrinks down, and then I'm going to stun him, because while he's enraged, he is immune to stuns. It might seem like a good idea to stun the big giant Mogu when he appears, but whenever he enrages, but he is actually immune to stuns. So save your shockwaves for actually when he's small. Now, as you can see, the giant Mogus seem like they'd be really problematic because they, at least the way they phrase it when they're warning you about the mob in here, that he does a lot of damage or becomes incredibly damaging. He really doesn't. All of his damage is based off auto attacks, which warriors, of course, have very high parry chance, very high armor. You really don't have to worry too much about them. Just make sure you've got shield block going or a Ravager if you really feel that you need it, and you'll pretty much be good to go. As you can see, I'm just going to go ahead and throw down Ravager, and I'll take practically no damage. And his Wing Blast actually knocked me out of out of the slam of the Mogu that you have to avoid. As you can see, whenever he does that slam, I simply sidestep it. And picking up the new monkey. And try not to, of course, let what had just happened to me happen. Again, it's not incredibly problematic, especially if you've only got like 2 lads up and it's only a small illusionary conqueror. But it's still, it's unnecessary damage, and you just don't want to be tanking it. And if you get into the bad habit of not really paying enough attention to it, then you'll wind up eating a stun when you really don't want to eat a stun. Here comes a big Mogu. This is a large illusionary conqueror. I'm going to go ahead and pull him into this fire really quick. Come along. Thank you. And I'll throw ahead and throw a Ravager down. I'm actually, as you can see, I'm actually letting my healer tank this little guy. He doesn't really hit that hard. Oh. So, it's not really that problematic. I might go ahead and just eat a big long cooldown, just because I think that it'll be back up again by the time I would need it. Yep. Here comes the new guy. The monkeys like to just continuously spawn. It's fairly annoying, but just taunt them and push them up, or or use heroic throw on them whenever they spawn, and you'll be pretty much good to go. Shield barrier just a little bit, just to reduce that damage again. Again, as you can see, I'm not really taking that much damage, even in these waves with the big conquerors, which supposedly are supposed to be your higher damage waves, but it's because warriors are just extremely powerful against, you know, auto-attacking mobs. He's gonna go ahead and invoke his lava. I'm gonna interrupt that. I'm going to spell reflect this next one. Wink. And I'm going to go ahead and taunt this guy. Come over here. Stand in this fire, please. Heroic throw you. Heroic throw you. Come along. Be stunned in the fire, please. Dodge the powerful slam. And of course he's going to knock me around. Come back, please. And I was actually able to still keep him in the fire for the most part, so he was able to take a fair chunk of damage from that. And with just, of course, the one Mogu left, and the monkeys will keep spawning. They always do. Just pick them up every time they do. Here comes another monkey. Don't feel so panicked if you see something beating on her, as long as you don't have. Oops. As long as you don't have the entire wave beating on her. As you can see, she heals herself as well. She's really reduces her own. She'll heal herself back up to full health pretty quickly. She can tank. Whoop, let's move there. She can actually tank these mobs by herself for a little while. So if you're feeling really pressured with how much damage is on you, go ahead and let her tank a mob for a little while. Her method of healing, since she's primarily DPSing, is just applying this HOT on you, and she applies the same HOT on herself. So it actually gets more healing out in the group if you divvy the damage up between you. Just, it's not a good idea to let her tank too much, though, because it could become problematic. Oh, there's the last little guy. There's that. Go ahead and interrupt that. And then I'm just going to situate myself right here. I'm kind of ignoring his damage. The small ones who only throw out fireballs, really their damage is inconsequential. I'm going to throw out a Ravager to grab threat. And whatever my Ravager didn't grab threat on, whoops. I'm going to go ahead and have to blow shield wall. As you can see, I've let her tank a little bit too much here, but, you know, it really won't matter in the long run. Come here, monkey. And all of you can be stunned. And I did not really need to blow shield slam or shield block right there, but whatever. As you can see, I kind of messed that one up again. I didn't do it perfectly, but even if you don't do it perfectly, you know, it's not too problematic. Let me go ahead and blow that. And I'll push Last Stand just in case. I don't believe I desperately need it, especially since I had a stun coming up right afterwards. And I've got Ravager back up. But, you know, it's a good idea to blow that just in case. Make sure you dodge those. And as you can see, my HP goes right back up. So I didn't handle that last wave perfectly. Make sure you avoid those slams. Much better than I just did. But as you can see, even when you don't avoid the slams, you know, warriors have enough high armor that it's not too problematic. It does push things a little low, but your Enrage Regeneration can be blown while you're stunned, so you can go ahead and blow that. And if you do have a lot of problems, you can just throw Mocking Banner down, which is probably what I should have done. So if you have a little bit of issue on that last wave with mobs keep spawning, just throw down the Mocking Banner and position yourself. Other than that, as you can see, pick up each ad as they come in, tank them away from your healer, and you shouldn't have too much issue. I hope this guide helps, and thanks for watching.